I used to believe family meant unconditional love. That's why I bought them the condo, a gleaming two-bedroom overlooking the city park, complete with marble countertops and floor-to-ceiling windows. I signed away my savings at 27, proud to give my parents and sister the home they deserved. 5 years later, I learned what unconditional really means to them. My name is Zoe, and this is how I learned that sometimes the people who hurt you most are the ones who raised you. Did you seriously get laid off? My sister Michaela's voice dripped with disgust as she sprawled across the leather couch I'd bought last Christmas. God, how embarrassing. I stood in the kitchen, still holding the remains of my corporate life in a cardboard box, my laptop, my awards, my family photos, all packed up after the tech company I'd devoted 6 years to announced massive downsizing. It's not embarrassing, it's reality, I said, setting down the box. The whole department got cut. I'll find something else. Mum swept into the room, her face twisted into that familiar expression of disappointment I'd grown up with. Well, I certainly hope so. Who's going to pay the maintenance fees, the utilities? Really, Zoe, how could you let this happen? Let this happen. As if I'd chosen to lose my job. As if I hadn't worked 60-hour weeks, sacrificed weekends, relationships, my own dreams of travelling, all to keep them comfortable. I have savings, I said quietly. We'll be fine for a while. For a while? Dad looked up from his newspaper. That's not very reassuring. I bit back the words I wanted to say, that he hadn't worked in 3 years, that Michaela's influencer career consisted of taking selfies and begging me for shopping money, that Mum's only contribution was criticism. I've already started applying for new positions, I said instead. I have good references, experience. McDonald's is always hiring. Michaela smirked, not looking up from her phone. Enough! I snapped, surprising myself with the edge in my voice. I just lost my job. Could you show a little compassion? Mum's eyes narrowed. Don't take that tone with us. We're just concerned about our living situation. After all we've done for you. I almost laughed. After all you've done for me, I bought this condo. I pay for everything. Here we go again. Michaela rolled her eyes. Saint Zoe, martyr of the family, always holding it over our heads. I've never held anything over your heads. I've given everything I have to this family. And now you have nothing, Mom said coldly. Maybe if you'd focused more on your career instead of playing house for us, you wouldn't be in this situation. The words hit like a physical blow. I turned away, blinking back tears, and started unpacking my box. Behind me, I heard Mom on her phone, probably calling her sister. It's just so disappointing, she said, not bothering to lower her voice. We always knew she'd end up a failure. Remember when she wanted to study art? Thank God we talked her out of that nonsense. Not that corporate worked out any better. I froze, a framed photo of our happy family in my hands. 5 years of supporting them. 5 years of thank you dinners I paid for, of Michaela's endless requests for money, of Dad's silent acceptance of everything Mum said and did. The frame slipped from my fingers, shattering on the marble floor I'd been so proud to provide. Now look what you've done, Mum snapped. Honestly, Zoe, you're falling apart. Pull yourself together and start applying for jobs. Any jobs. We can't afford your emotional breakdown right now. I stared at the broken glass, at our smiling faces fractured into pieces. Something inside me broke too, quietly, finally, irreversibly. You're right, I said, my voice steady. I'll start looking right away. But as I walked to my room, the smallest bedroom, because Mom needed the master suite and Michaela needed space for her content creation, I opened my laptop and typed 3 words into the search bar: international job opportunities. That night I lay in bed listening to them through the thin walls. Mum was still on the phone. Complete loser, she was saying. Can't even keep a decent job. I don't know where we went wrong with that one. I turned over, opened my phone, and texted my ex, Weston. Remember when you said you owed me a favour? I need to talk to a real estate lawyer. The response came quickly. Name the time and place. I smiled in the darkness, already feeling lighter. They wanted to see me fall apart, fine. But they'd forgotten one crucial detail. This was my house, and I was done building a home for people who only wanted to tear me down. The coffee shop where I agreed to meet Weston was far enough from the condo that I wouldn't risk running into my family. Not that they ever ventured into this part of town. It wasn't prestigious enough for them. "You look exactly the same," Weston said, sliding into the seat across from me. His smile was warm, familiar. We'd dated briefly in law school before I dropped out to take the corporate job that would help support my family. Another sacrifice they'd never acknowledged. "You look successful," I replied, noting his tailored suit. "Real estate law treating you well?" "Can't complain, but I doubt you called me here for small talk." He leaned forward, brown eyes serious. "What's going on, Zoe?" I wrapped my hands around my coffee cup. "I need to sell my condo, quietly and quickly." "The one your family lives in?" His eyebrows shot up. "Does this have anything to do with the layoffs at your company?" "You heard about that?" "It's all over LinkedIn. I'm sorry." I waved away his sympathy. "Don't be. It was the wake-up call I needed." I pulled out my phone, showing him the property documents. "What I need to know is, can I sell without their knowledge? They're not on the deed." Weston studied the documents, his expression professional now. "You're the sole owner, no co-signers, no liens. You can sell to whoever you want, whenever you want. They're essentially month-to-month tenants without a formal lease." My phone buzzed. A text from Michaela. "Can you Venmo me 300? Need to look good for this influencer collab." I showed Weston the message. "See what I mean? They treat me like an ATM, but the moment I lost my job..." I trailed off, remembering Mum's words. "Say no more." Weston pulled out his laptop. "I actually have a client who's been looking for exactly this type of property. Private sale, cash offer, quick closing. Interested?" "How quick?" 2 weeks, maybe less. My heart raced. "And my family?" "The new owner would handle the eviction process, everything legal, by the book." He paused. "But Zoe, are you sure about this? It's a big step." Before I could answer, my phone rang. Mum's face filled the screen. I declined the call. "They've had 5 years of free living in a luxury condo," I said. 5 years of me working myself to death while they criticised every choice I made. And now? I pulled up another email on my phone, the one I'd received that morning. "I got a job offer in Paris, executive position, double my old salary." Weston's face broke into a genuine smile. "Zoe, that's amazing. You always wanted to work internationally." "Yeah, until Mum convinced me it was selfish to abandon the family." I laughed bitterly. Funny how that works, isn't it? My phone buzzed again. Another text from Michaela. "Hello? I need that money today." "Show me the paperwork for the sale," I said, turning my phone face down. "And tell me everything I need to know." For the next hour, Weston walked me through the process. The buyer was legitimate, the offer fair. Everything could be done electronically, except for the final signing. "One thing," Weston said as we finished, "why didn't you call another lawyer? Why me?" I met his eyes. "Because you were there before. You saw how they treated me. You're the only one who won't think I'm being cruel." "I remember," he said softly. "I remember watching you give up your dreams one by one. Art school, law school, that gallery internship in New York." He reached across the table, squeezed my hand. "You're not being cruel, Zoe. You're finally being kind to yourself." My phone vibrated again. Mum had left a voicemail. "Zoe, your sister needs that money. Don't be selfish. After everything we've done for you." I deleted it without listening to the rest. "Send me the sale documents," I said. "I'll sign them tonight." As we stood to leave, Weston touched my arm. "Hey, when this is all over, maybe we could grab dinner, for old time's sake." For the first time in weeks, I felt something other than anger or exhaustion. Something like hope. "I'd like that," I said, "but first I have a family to evict and a plane to catch." Walking home, I felt lighter with every step. My phone kept buzzing. Michaela's demands, Mum's guilt trips, Dad's passive-aggressive messages about family duty. I ignored them all and opened my email instead, typing out 2 responses. To the overseas job offer, I accept. When can I start? To the property buyer, the condo is yours. Let's close as soon as possible. It was time to stop being the family ATM and start being the karma they never saw coming. I found the perfect job for you, Mum announced, slapping a printout on the kitchen table. Retail associate at the mall. They're hiring immediately. I glanced at the listing while stirring my coffee. Minimum wage, split shifts, no benefits. My stomach churned. I have interviews lined up already, I said carefully. Corporate positions. Beggars can't be choosers, she sniffed. Besides, you clearly couldn't handle the pressure of corporate life. Maybe something simpler would be better suited to your capabilities. I bit my tongue, remembering the signed offer letter from Paris sitting in my email. Double my previous salary, housing allowance, travel benefits, everything I'd ever dreamed of. Look what your sister's doing, Mum continued, pointing to Michaela, who was staging another Instagram photo shoot in the living room. She's building her brand. That's real hustle. Taking selfies is hustle? The words slipped out before I could stop them. Michaela whirled around. At least I'm not unemployed. God, you're such a hater. Mum, she's just jealous because I'm actually going somewhere in life. Dad lowered his newspaper. Zoe, that's unnecessary. Your sister is pursuing her dreams. You should focus on finding stable employment instead of criticising others. I stared at him. This man who hadn't worked in years, who'd let Mum drain my bank account with endless demands. You're right, Dad. I should focus on my future. My phone pinged. A text from Weston. Buyer approved. Final papers ready tomorrow. Who's that? Mum demanded. Are you even job hunting? Actually, I said, I have an interview this afternoon. It wasn't technically a lie. I had a video call scheduled with my future boss in Paris to discuss start dates. Where? Mum's eyes narrowed. A consulting firm downtown, entry-level position. Entry-level? Michaela snorted. Wow, talk about a step down, but I guess that's what happens when you're a complete failure, I finished for her. Yeah, you've mentioned that several times. Don't be dramatic, Mum snapped. We're trying to help you. Someone needs to pay the bills around here. I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. You're right. Someone does need to pay the bills. Have you considered getting a job, Mum? Or you, Dad? Or maybe Michaela could monetize all those selfies? The silence was deafening. How dare you? Mum's face turned red. After everything we've done, what exactly have you done? My voice was ice cold. Name one thing, one sacrifice you've made for me. We raised you. No, you used me, and now that I can't fund your lifestyle, that's enough. Dad slammed his hand on the table. Apologise to your mother? I laughed. Actually laughed. No. Michaela gasped. Mum's mouth opened and closed like a fish. I said apologise. Or what? I met his eyes. You'll cut me off? Ground me? I'm 32 years old, Dad, and this is my house. The moment the words left my mouth, I knew I'd made a mistake. Mum's eyes glittered dangerously. Your house? She smiled. Of course, your house, where we've lived as a family, where we've supported you through every failure. And now you're throwing that in our faces? My phone buzzed again. Weston. Meeting confirmed with the buyer, tomorrow at 2 p.m. I have to go, I said, grabbing my bag. Job interview. Take the retail position, Mum called after me. It's all you're qualified for anyway. I closed the door quietly behind me, walked to my car and called my best friend Veronica. They're getting worse, I said when she answered. The gaslighting, the insults. How much longer? Papers are ready tomorrow, flight to Paris in 3 weeks. And they still don't know. I started the car. They don't deserve to know. That evening, I returned to find Michaela had posted a lengthy Instagram rant about entitled losers who won't hustle, and toxic people who blame others for their failures. The comments were filled with supportive messages, people praising her truth-telling, if they only knew. Mum had left more job listings on my bed: cashier, server, hotel maid, each one highlighted with passive-aggressive notes. This seems more your speed, and don't aim too high. I gathered them all and dropped them in the recycling bin, then opened my laptop to finish my French lessons. On my screen, a message from my future boss in Paris waited. "Excited to have you join us, Zoe. Your apartment will be ready next month. Welcome to your new life." I smiled, thinking of the closing papers waiting for my signature. Tomorrow I would sign away the golden handcuffs that had kept me chained to this toxic family. Tomorrow I would choose myself. My phone lit up with a final text from Mom. "We expect rent money on the 1st. Don't disappoint us again." "Don't worry," I whispered to the empty room. "I won't." "I made your favourite," Mum announced, setting down a plate of lasagna. "Since you've been so stressed lately." Family dinner, another manipulation tactic. I pushed the food around my plate, remembering all the times she'd used meals as weapons. Like when I got into art school with a scholarship, and she'd made this same lasagna before telling me I couldn't go. "I have news," I said, setting down my fork. "I got a job offer." Mum's eyes lit up. "The retail position? I knew you'd come to your senses." "No." I took a deep breath. "A consulting position, similar to my old role." "Where?" Dad asked, suddenly interested. I hesitated. "Downtown, entry level like I mentioned." The lie felt heavy on my tongue, but I thought of the signed papers in my bag. The condo sale had closed that afternoon, with Weston handling the final details. 2 weeks' notice would be delivered to my family tomorrow. "Entry level?" Mum scoffed. "At your age? You're such a disappointment." "Mom!" Michaela protested, not out of defence for me, but because she was filming the dinner for her social media. "Not while I'm recording." I stood up abruptly, my chair scraping back. "I paid for your braces." "What?" Mum blinked. "When I was 16, working at the movie theatre. You said you couldn't afford Michaela's braces, so I paid. Every month for 2 years." "That was different." "And college? My scholarships covered tuition, but you took my savings for family expenses. $10,000 I'd saved since I was 12. "We needed that money." Mum's face flushed. "Your father was between jobs." "He's still between jobs." I slammed my hands on the table. 5 years later, and you're all still living off me." "How dare you?" Dad's voice thundered. "After everything." "Sup? Say it again," I challenged. "After everything you've done for me, name one thing, one sacrifice, one time you put me first." Silence fell over the table. Michaela's phone kept recording. "I never asked for your money," Mum said finally, her voice cold. "You offered. You wanted to help your family, and now you're throwing it in our faces." "You're right," I laughed bitterly. "I offered. Every time. Because that's what good daughters do, right? They give up art school. They work 60-hour weeks. They buy condos for ungrateful families who—" "Turn off the phone, Michaela," Mum snapped. "Your sister is having another breakdown." "No, keep recording," I said. "Show your followers the real family dynamic. Show them how you treat the person who's kept a roof over your head for 5 years. You're being dramatic," Dad said. "And ungrateful. We raised you." "To be your personal bank account?" I pushed back from the table. "I'm done." "Done with what?" Mum's voice turned dangerous. "Done supporting your family. Done being a decent daughter." I reached for my bag, felt the sale papers inside. Tomorrow they'd know. Tomorrow everything would change. "Done pretending this is normal," I said quietly. "Done letting you make me feel worthless because I finally lost the ability to fund your lifestyle." "Where are you going?" Michaela demanded as I headed for the door. "To meet someone who actually respects me." 30 minutes later, I sat across from Weston in a quiet bar downtown. The signed papers lay between us. "It's done," he said softly. "The new owner takes possession in 2 weeks." I stared at my drink. "They made lasagna tonight." "Your favourite?" "Mum's favourite manipulation tool." I took a sip. She made it the night she convinced me not to go to art school, said the family needed me to start working instead. Weston reached across the table, his hand covering mine. I remember how talented you were, your paintings. Would never pay the bills, I mimicked Mum's voice. Unlike corporate consulting, which could support a family of 4 apparently. You know what I admired most about you back then? Weston's eyes met mine. How fiercely independent you were. How you'd light up talking about your dreams. That girl's gone. No. He squeezed my hand. She's just been buried under years of guilt and manipulation. But she's still there. The fact that you're doing this proves it. My phone buzzed. A text from Mum. If you're not going to apologise, don't bother coming home tonight. I showed Weston the message. Home, I said bitterly. My home that they've taken for granted. Not for much longer, he raised his glass. To Karma. I clinked my glass against his, thinking of the eviction notice that would arrive tomorrow, of my one-way ticket to Paris hidden in my desk drawer, of years of sacrifices and guilt and manipulation. To Karma, I echoed, and to finally choosing myself. The air conditioning is broken again, Michaela whined, sprawled dramatically across the couch. This is like, literally, torture. I kept packing my work bag with the essentials I'd need for Paris. Passport, important documents, irreplaceable photos. Everything else could be replaced. Did you call maintenance? I asked, knowing I wouldn't be here to deal with the aftermath. That's your job, Mum snapped, fanning herself. You're the one who owns this place. Not for much longer. The thought made me smile. My phone buzzed. Veronica. Are you really not going to warn them? I stepped onto the balcony to reply. They never warned me before they took everything I had. The AC needs to be fixed today, Michaela shouted through the glass. I have a sponsored post to film. I stared at my sister, remembering the little girl who used to draw with me before Mom convinced her that art was for losers. Now she was just another version of our mother, entitled, demanding, cruel. My phone rang. It was Weston. The new owner wants to do a final walkthrough tomorrow, he said. Are you ready? I watched my family through the glass. Mum was berating Dad for not fixing the AC himself. Michaela was taking selfies of her suffering. More than ready, I replied. What time? 9 a.m. They'll serve the papers right after. I ended the call and went back inside, where Mum was waiting with that familiar look of disapproval. Who was that? Please tell me it was about a job. Something like that. I grabbed my keys. I'm going out. What about the AC? Michaela demanded. Call maintenance yourself, I said. You're an adult, aren't you? Mum's eyes narrowed. What's gotten into you lately? This attitude. This attitude? I turned to face her. You mean like how you've treated me since I lost my job? The constant criticism, the demands? We're your family. No, I said quietly. You're my burden. And tomorrow, I caught myself. Tomorrow's another day. I met Veronica at our favourite coffee shop, the one with the view of the park. She took one look at my face and ordered us both extra shots of espresso. You look like you're about to snap, she said. 24 hours, I replied. Just 24 more hours of their emotional terrorism. And then what? They'll be homeless. They'll be exactly what they made me, responsible for themselves. My phone lit up with texts from Mom. The maintenance company wants payment up front. This is your responsibility. Answer your phone. I silenced it. You know they'll never forgive you, Veronica said softly. They never approved of me anyway. I pulled out my plane ticket, showed her the date. 3 days after the eviction, I'll be in Paris before they even figure out where to go. And Weston? I felt my cheeks warm. He's been supportive. He always saw through their manipulation, Veronica reminded me, even back in college. More texts flooded in. Michaela. My followers are asking why I'm sweating in my video. This is ruining my brand. Dad. Your mother is very upset. Fix this. Mom. You'll never be anything special if you keep acting like this. That last one made me laugh out loud. What's funny? Veronica asked. They still think they have power over me. I showed her the messages. They have no idea what's coming. You're really going to watch them get evicted? From across the street, I confirmed. I want to see their faces when they realise what I've done. Back at the condo, I found Mum had slipped another job, listing under my door. Fast food restaurant, minimum wage. Since you can't handle corporate pressure, she'd written in the margins. I added it to my growing collection of their cruelty. Screenshots of texts, recordings of their verbal abuse, Michaela's social media rants about me. My evidence that this wasn't revenge, it was survival. That night I couldn't sleep. Not from guilt, but anticipation. I heard them through the walls. Zoe's lost her mind, Mum was saying, all this attitude just because she couldn't handle a real job. Maybe we should start looking for a new place, Dad suggested. Why? She owns this condo. She can't kick us out. We're family. I smiled in the darkness, thinking of the papers that would arrive in just a few hours. They'd learn that family wasn't a blank cheque, that karma wasn't just a concept. My phone lit up one last time. Weston. Everything's set for tomorrow. Are you sure you want to watch? Yes, I typed back. I need to see their faces when they realise I'm not their ATM anymore. I'm their karma. I watched from the coffee shop across the street as the new owner's car pulled up to the condo, right on time, 9 a.m. sharp. My family had no idea their world was about to implode. My phone buzzed. Weston. Are you watching? Front row seat, I texted back. Through the large windows of their living room, I could see Mum in her bathrobe, opening the door. Even from here, I could read her body language. Confusion, then alarm, then fury as the new owner handed her the papers. My phone exploded. Mum. What have you done? Michaela. OMG, are you insane? Dad. Call us immediately. I took a sip of my coffee and watched the show unfold. Mum was screaming now. I could see her arms waving through the window. The new owner, a calm-looking man in his late 30s, simply stood there, pointing to various parts of the document. Legal, binding, immediate. Michaela came running into the living room, still in her pyjamas, phone in hand. She was crying, mascara streaming down her face, probably realising her influencer studio would soon be gone. More texts flooded in. Mum. You ungrateful monster. Michaela. I'm literally shaking. How could you do this to your family? Dad. We raised you better than this. I typed out one response. You have 48 hours to vacate. The new owner is being generous. Legally, he could give you less time. The explosion was immediate. Through the window, I watched Mum throw her phone across the room. Dad finally stood up from his armchair, his face red with rage. Michaela was filming everything, probably for sympathy content. My phone rang. Mom, I declined the call. It rang again. Dad, declined. Again, Michaela, declined. A new text from Weston. They're calling me now. Want me to answer? No, I replied. Let them face reality for once. Through the window, I watched the new owner hand them more papers, the formal eviction notice, the legal documentation of the sale, the proof that their free ride was over. Mum tried to tear up the papers. The owner simply pulled out another copy from his briefcase. Professional, prepared, just like I'd been. My phone buzzed again. Michaela. Mum is having a breakdown and it's your fault. Dad. Your mother is in tears. How could you betray us like this? Mum. I'll never forgive you for this. You're dead to me. That last one should have hurt. Instead, I felt lighter. They'd been emotionally killing me for years. This was just making it official. I watched as Mom tried to slam the door in the owner's face. He simply placed his foot in the doorway and continued speaking, pointing to specific sections of the documents. Even from here, I could read his body language. Calm, professional, unmoved by their drama. More texts poured in. Michaela. Where are we supposed to go? Dad. This is no way to treat your family. Mum. I'll tell everyone what you did. Everyone will know what a monster you are. I finally responded, like how you told everyone what a failure I was when I lost my job. How's that karma feeling? Through the window, I watched Mom read my text. Her face contorted with rage. She started typing furiously. Mum, we gave you everything. Me, no, I gave you everything, and now I'm taking it back. Mum, you'll regret this. Family is forever. Me, not anymore. I stood up, leaving money for my coffee. Across the street, I could see them all huddled around their phones, probably trying to figure out where they would go. No more free ride, no more emotional abuse disguised as family love, no more guilt trips. My phone buzzed one last time. Michaela had posted on Instagram, "When toxic family members show their true colours, send prayers." I smiled, screenshot it, and sent it to Weston with the caption, "The influencer content writes itself." His response came quickly, "You okay?" I looked across the street one last time. Mum was crying dramatically on the couch. Dad was pacing, probably trying to figure out how to fix a problem he couldn't manipulate away. Michaela was still filming everything, turning their eviction into content. "Better than okay," I replied. "I'm free." As I walked away, I could still see them through the window, their world crumbling around them, reality finally catching up. In 3 days, I'd be on a plane to Paris, leaving behind their toxicity, their manipulation, their endless demands. They wanted to call me a monster? Fine. Sometimes karma needs sharp teeth. My phone buzzed one final time. A group text from Mum. "You'll regret this. Family is all you have." I typed back my last response. "No, what I have is a plane ticket to Paris and peace of mind. You have 47 hours to pack." Then I blocked their numbers, one by one, and walked away from the crater I'd created. Sometimes the only way to heal is to burn everything down and start fresh. "Champagne?" The flight attendant smiled as she held out the glass. I took it, snapping a quick photo to send to Veronica. "First class to Paris, my own personal victory toast." The response came immediately. "Living your best revenge life." But as the plane took off, leaving behind the city where I'd sacrificed everything for my family, an unexpected heaviness settled in my chest. Not quite guilt, but something close to it. My phone was full of missed calls from unknown numbers, family friends, distant relatives, all probably hearing Mum's version of events. I'd blocked my family's numbers, but their words still echoed. Monster. Ungrateful. Heartless. "First time to Paris?" the businessman next to me asked, probably noticing my white-knuckled grip on the armrest. "First time leaving everything behind," I replied. He nodded knowingly. "Running to something or away from something?" "Both." My phone buzzed. An email from Weston. "They're out. New owner has changed the locks. You okay?" I stared at the message, remembering Dad's face as they were evicted. He'd looked so lost, so helpless, the same way I'd felt all those years supporting them. "You've reached cruising altitude," the pilot announced. "You're free to move about the cabin." Free? Was I? Or had I just become what they always accused me of being? I opened Instagram, breaking my own rule about checking their social media. Michaela had been busy. When toxic family members choose money over blood. Sometimes the worst betrayals come from those closest to you. Starting a GoFundMe for my homeless family. Link in bio. Each post had thousands of sympathetic comments. The narrative was clear. I was the villain in their story. My phone rang. Weston. "Hey," his voice was soft. "Thought you might need a friendly voice right now." "They're playing the victim," I said, stepping into the plane's galley for privacy. "Making me look like what they actually are," he finished. "Zoe, they're just showing everyone their true colours. Let them." "But what if they're right? What if I am heartless?" "A heartless person wouldn't be asking that question." He paused. "Remember when you paid for Michaela's braces? Your mum told everyone she'd taken an extra job to afford them." "How did you know that?" "Because she bragged about her sacrifice at that neighbourhood barbecue. Meanwhile, you were working double shifts at the movie theatre, missing school events." Tears pricked my eyes. I thought if I gave enough they'd finally love you. His voice was gentle. They did love you, as long as you were useful to them. Another email popped up. Unknown sender. We found you. You think you're done with us? My hands shook as I showed it to Weston over FaceTime. Forward it to me, he said. I'll have it traced, but Zoe, they're just trying to scare you. They have no power anymore. I know. I took a deep breath. I keep seeing Dad's face. He looked so broken, like you looked every time they broke you. Weston's voice hardened. Where was his concern then? The flight attendant appeared with more champagne. I accepted it gratefully. What am I supposed to do with all this guilt? I whispered. Use it, Weston said. Let it remind you why you left. Let it fuel your new life, but don't let it drag you back. My phone buzzed again. Veronica had sent a screenshot of my mother's Facebook post. My eldest has abandoned us. Please pray for our family in this difficult time. She's really milking this, I said. Of course she is, Weston replied. It's the only card she has left to play, but you know what's different now? What? You're not there to see the performance. You're above the clouds, literally and figuratively. I looked out the window at the sunset painting the sky. 7 hours until Paris, until my new life. I started. What? I wish I could feel nothing about this, be as cold as they claim I am. The fact that you're hurting proves you're nothing like them, Weston said. That's your superpower, Zoe. You still feel, you still care. You just finally chose to care about yourself too. The pilot announced our approach to international waters. No turning back now. Get some sleep, Weston said. Tomorrow you start your new life. And Zoe? Yeah, I'm proud of you. 3 simple words. Words I'd never heard from my family. Words that made me realize that sometimes the family you choose is better than the family you're born into. I reclined my seat, closed my eyes, and let the hum of the engines drown out the echoes of their accusations. Tomorrow, I'd wake up in Paris. Tomorrow, I'd start becoming the person they tried to prevent me from being. Tomorrow, I'd finally be free. Your presentation was excellent, Alejandro said, closing his laptop. The board is impressed. They want to make your position permanent. I smiled, looking out my office window at the Paris skyline. The Eiffel Tower glittered in the distance, a daily reminder of how far I'd come. Thank you, I said. I'd like that. My phone buzzed. Weston's face appeared on the screen. He was visiting for the week, his 3rd trip since I'd moved here. Dinner to celebrate, he texted. Before I could reply, an email notification popped up. The subject line made my stomach clench. Your sister's wedding. It was from a family friend. Michaela's getting married next month. She misses you. They all do. Maybe it's time to reconcile. Attached was a photo of my sister in a wedding dress, Mum crying beside her. They were in a boutique I recognised, the same one where Mum had refused to help me shop for my college graduation dress, calling it a waste of money. Delete, I whispered, pressing the button. My phone rang. Veronica. Have you seen the wedding stuff? She asked without preamble. Just deleted it. Good, because you should know. They're telling everyone you're invited, that you're just too busy with your fancy Paris job to attend. I laughed. Of course they are, still controlling the narrative. Your mum's GoFundMe for the wedding has raised thousands, Veronica added. She's playing up the abandoned family angle hard. Let her, I said, gathering my things. I'm done being their story. Outside, Paris was alive with evening energy. I walked to the cafe where Weston waited, watching people hurry past, living their own dramas, fighting their own battles. You look troubled, he said as I sat down. Michaela's getting married. Ah, he reached for my hand. And nothing. I'm not going. I'm not sending a gift. I'm not playing their game anymore. Good. He squeezed my fingers. Because I have a different proposal. My heart skipped. What? Move in with me. Here, in Paris. My firm's opening a branch office and My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Hello? Zoe? Dad's voice. My blood froze. Please don't hang up. Weston watched my face, concern evident. I put the phone on speaker. What do you want? Your sister's wedding. She needs her big sister there, your mother. No. We're family, he pleaded, despite everything. Despite everything? I cut in. Despite calling me worthless? Despite watching Mum tear me down for years? Despite taking everything I had and demanding more? We've changed, he insisted. The eviction. It was a wake-up call. We're different now. No, you're just targeting a different audience for handouts. How's that GoFundMe going? Silence. That's what I thought. I took a deep breath. Don't contact me again. Your mother was right. His voice hardened. You are heartless. No, Dad, I just finally grew a spine. I ended the call, blocked the number, and looked at Weston. Yes. Yes. Yes, I'll move in with you. Yes, I choose this life. Yes, I choose us. He smiled, that warm smile that had always made me feel safe. You know what I love about you? Your strength isn't in being heartless. It's in having the biggest heart and finally deciding who deserves a piece of it. My phone lit up with a final email from Michaela. I'm only getting married once. Don't be selfish. I showed it to Weston, then typed my response. You're right. You're only getting married once, so make it about your happiness, not my absence. I wish you joy, Michaela, real joy, not the kind that depends on others' pain. Goodbye. Then I deleted her email address, turned off my phone, and looked at the man across from me, the one who'd supported my escape, who'd helped me rebuild, who'd shown me what real family could be. Let's go home, I said. Which home? He asked. Your apartment or mine? Our home, I corrected. The one we'll build together, without guilt, without manipulation, without price tags on love. He stood, offering his hand. Behind us, the Eiffel Tower lit up the darkening sky. Ahead of us stretched a future I'd chosen for myself. People say karma comes for those who deserve it, but sometimes karma needs a little help. Sometimes karma looks like a one-way ticket to Paris, a blocked phone number, and the courage to finally say enough. Sometimes karma looks like choosing yourself. And sometimes, when you do, you find others who choose you too, not for what you can give them, but for who you truly are. That's not heartless, that's healing.